I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. A dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Please welcome to the stage your MC for the morning, Lindy Fisker.
Good morning. Oh, come on, it's Friday morning. It's the start of a long holiday weekend. Good morning. I am Lindy Fisker, and I'm excited to be here with you this morning to serve as your MC for the 39th annual Arizona Dr. Martin Luther King Breakfast. But before we start our program, I know that the fires in California have caused immeasurable human suffering and loss, and it's on our minds and hearts, and so we send our prayers for recovery and restoration to our neighbors to the west. Thank you as we keep them lifted up. The I Have a Dream is a public speech that was delivered by American civil rights activist Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom on August 28, 1963, in which he called for civil and economic rights and an end to racism in the United States. It was delivered to over 250,000 civil rights supporters from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. The speech was a defining moment in the civil rights movement and among the most iconic speeches in American history. Today, we recognize Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who would have turned 96 years old just 2 days ago, gone to us way too early at the age of 39. And through the 9 individuals and 3 organizations that we celebrate this morning, we continue to honor his life and legacy. But first, we'd like to open today's breakfast with entry of our 2025 torch runners, followed by the procession of the 2025 Arizona MLK Award honorees. The torch runners, now in their 19th year, run each year to symbolize the passing of the torch to the youth. Their 5K route, which started at 6:45 this morning, and usually I'm part of that running group, they start at 6:45 with a motorcycle escort from the City of Phoenix Police Department. They begin at City Hall and they end here to open up our ceremony. Returning again this year are the torch runners and their coach from Franklin Police and Fire High School, which is a part of the Phoenix Union High School District. They are supported by runners from Black Men Run of Phoenix and the Phoenix Police Department, members of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. The torch run is hosted under the leadership of our awards breakfast chair, who happens to be the 2017 Arizona MLK Calvin C. Good Lifetime Achievement Award honoree, Ms. Valerie Churchwell. Yes, yes. Please remain seated for the entry of the torch and the runners, immediately followed by the 2025 Arizona MLK honorees.
Please welcome the 2025 Beacon Youth Award scholars. Miss Lauren Jones, a senior at Arizona College Preparatory High School. Mr. John Davis, a senior at East Smart High School. New for this year, please welcome the finalists for the inaugural AZ MLK Service Award, Drum Major for the Community. SRP, represented by Rob Taylor. Heartsea, represented by Tina Ferguson, and the Zeta Tau chapter of Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated, represented by Sherry Dozier, founding member and president, and Ashley Whitlock, first vice president. The 2025 Living the Dream Award honorees, Miss Wante Daly, Mr. Jerry McPherson, Miss Diva Mumphrey, Dr. Samiria Jenna Riggins, Miss Donna Williams, Esquire. Unfortunately, Miss Williams is unable to join us today. Accepting for her is her husband, Mr. Marcus Williams. 2025 Lifetime Achievement Awards recipient, Mrs. Bernell Myers Coleman, posthumous, represented by her daughter, Mrs. Charcetta Coleman Miller, Mr. George Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you your 2025 Arizona MLK Award honorees. Thank you, honorees, and a big round of applause for our torch runners, and you all may please take your seats. Next, we have our opening prayer, but before we begin, we would like to bring to the stage the first attendant, Mr. Indigenous ASU, and our 2023 Living the Dream Award honoree, Mr. Cordero Holmes, for our land acknowledgement, followed immediately by our opening prayer delivered by Dr. Warren H. Stewart Sr., who is senior pastor for the First Institutional Baptist Church, and a 2003 Lifetime Achievement Award honoree.
Before I give the land acknowledgement, I'd like to introduce myself to you all in the Altham language, and then I'll proceed with the land acknowledgement. Skug Sierik, Aninub Jugi, Cordero Ba'ak Holmes, Ab Amjet, Hikwan Jukshon, Thorno Altham Juvid. I proudly acknowledge that the city of Phoenix resides on the ancestral lands of the Peeposh and Akamo Altham peoples, whose presence here spans countless generations. This land holds deep cultural and spiritual significance to the Altham and Peeposh, whose traditions, values, and connections to this sacred landscape continue to shape their identity and strength today. As an Altham person, I feel an immense responsibility to honor my ancestors and recognize the enduring presence of all indigenous peoples who call Arizona home, including the 22 tribal nations whose sovereignty and stewardship contribute to the vibrancy of this city and this state. Through this acknowledgement, I invite us all to reflect on our shared responsibility to learn from and work with the indigenous communities. Together, we can foster a deeper understanding, respect, and of shared responsibility to care for this land and its people. Thank you. Sapo.
Shall we pray? Gracious God, God of justice, God of liberty, God of love, we thank you for your presence today. We thank you for the life, legacy, and ministry of our 20th century prophet of prophets, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and the very fact that nearly 60 years after his assassination, he still speaks to us, he still teaches us, he still directs us, that we should live up to what we pledge to our flag, liberty and justice for all. God, we thank you for all of the honorees today and what they have done to continue to fulfill the vision and dream of Martin King Jr. We thank you for this city that has been a beacon of justice and equality for decades. God, we thank you for Dr. Gene C. Ballou. We ask that you would touch his body. We thank you for his labors of love for over 50 years in the Valley and with Arizona OIC. Continue to guide and direct him. God, we ask that you would be with us not only today, but we thank you for being with us on this weekend. And what a blessing it is to know that on Monday, when we celebrate Dr. King's birth again, there will be a peaceful transition of the presidency of the United States. How wonderful, how hopeful, how optimistic that is, that there will be no violence, there will be no guns, there will be no pain, there will be no injuries, there will be no death. But in the spirit of Martin Luther King, this country will live up to who it calls itself to be as a nation of democracy. Thank you for the food we have received today. Bless us that we may live the work of Martin King every day of our lives. I pray this in the name of my Prince of Peace, my Savior, even Jesus the Christ. Amen.
We thank you, Cordero and Dr. Stewart, for those powerful words to open today's event. Now we ask you all to please stand for the presentation of our colors by the City of Phoenix Police Department Honor Guard, and remain standing for the performance of our national anthem, followed by all three verses of Lift Every Voice and Sing. Both pieces will be performed by members of the Timothy Barnwell Candlelight Choir. Our national anthem soloist is Whitney Young, and Lift Every Voice and Sing soloist John King III.
time, march. Ready? Hold. Ready? Face. Ready? Pose. Post the colors. Post. Present. Arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not thy weary feet come to the place of which our Father sighed. We have come over the waves with with the tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from beneath thy path, till we now stand at last, where the white gleam of the bright stars is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us safe far on the way, laid us into the light, keep us forever in thy path, keep us forever in thy path, we pray. Oh, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee, shadowed beneath thy hand. May we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
Honor guard. Ready, face. Ready, post. Ready, face. Forward, march.
Impressive. It never gets old to see the presentation of our colors. You may please be seated. We want to thank again John and Whitney and the Phoenix Police Department Honor Guard for your participation today. Just a quick fact about the Lift Every Voice song. James Johnson wrote it as a poem in 1900, and his brother John Johnson composed the music that goes along with it. It was the first performance of the poem as a song was sung by a choir of school children from a segregated elementary school in Jacksonville, Florida, and they were singing to then celebrate President Abraham Lincoln's birthday. It never gets old. Dr. King's dream was not simply about imagining a better world. It was about putting the walk behind the talk, to bring it to life. His words remind us that true change comes from working together, despite our differences, in pursuit of what is true and right. Here in Arizona, we are privileged to live in a diverse and dynamic state that values inclusivity and progress. Yet to ensure that every voice is heard, every individual is respected, and every community is provided opportunities to thrive, we must elect leaders who are committed to fostering unity and advancing policies that lift up all Arizonians. So, yes. So please join me in welcoming the Honorable Katie Hobbs, the 24th Governor of the great state of Arizona, to the stage.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. It is such an honor to be here for the 39th annual Arizona MLK Living the Dream Awards breakfast. Thank you so much to Dr. Jean Blue, who has been here from the beginning, Thank you to Ron Williams, chairperson of the MLK Events and Activities for the last 12 years, and Valerie Churchwell, the MLK Awards Breakfast chair. I also want to thank all the committee members and volunteers for all the work putting this amazing event together, as well as everyone who showed up here today to celebrate community. I want to also extend my congratulations to all of the awardees for your outstanding achievements and service to the community. Especially want to congratulate and thank the 2 Lifetime Award honorees, George Flores and the family of Mrs. Vernell Myers Coleman. Congratulations and thank you for your service to our community. I also have to give a special shout out to Jerry McPherson, who was recently named Executive Director of the Arizona Commission of African American Affairs. And congratulations again to all of the other honorees for being recognized today. All of your work has made our state a better place. If you tuned into my State of the State address on Monday, you heard me lay out the Arizona promise, the promise that every Arizonan can enjoy security, opportunity, and freedom. And as we celebrate and reflect on the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we're reminded that his dream was about opportunity and freedom for all. He envisioned a world where every child can get a good education, where every family can put food on the table and a roof over their head, and hard work is rewarded with success, and no one is left behind. His dream lives on in the work that we're doing to make life better for everyday Arizonans, to bring that Arizona promise to fruition. Arizona is a place of promise, but that promise has slipped away for far too many. Arizonans are working harder and struggling more. But I know the promise is possible because I have lived it myself. As a born and raised Arizonan, I worked 2 jobs at one point to get by and put food on the table, but opportunity and hard work got me to where I am today. And we must make this possible for Arizonans across the state. The time is always right to do what is right. And now, more than ever, we must take action to support the working families who built this state into what it is today. We must make childcare more affordable. We must make buying a home more attainable. We must make our public education system work for all of our students. We must make sure that our children have clean air and clean water for generations. That is what the Arizona Promise looks like. On Monday, we'll be celebrating the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a man who at his core believed that everyone deserves and must be treated equally under the law. We will also be inaugurating the next president. And my greatest hope is that the next administration, like all elected officials, will remember the words of Dr. King and live up to the values that he stood for. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend, and I look forward to the march on Monday. I hope to see some of you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Governor. Next, our Phoenix Mayor, Kate Gallego, is unable to join us today, but she has sent a video in her absence. Please turn your attention to the screen for a greeting from the mayor of the United States' 5th largest city.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego, and it's an honor to welcome you to the 39th annual Arizona MLK celebration. Today's breakfast and award ceremony marks the beginning of a weekend in Phoenix where we come together to celebrate the extraordinary life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's time to reflect how far we've come, acknowledge the work ahead, and renew our shared commitment to building a just and equitable society. A heartfelt thank you to Arizona OIC and the Arizona MLK Celebration Committee for organizing this impactful event year after year. Your work under the leadership of Dr. Jean Blue has been vital in keeping Dr. King's vision alive and recognizing those individuals who've delivered that vision here in Arizona. I'd like to extend my congratulations to today's awards recipients. You don't do it for the recognition, but we're so pleased to be able to tell your story because we know how it will inspire others and be a small thank you for your incredible achievements. Your dedication and contributions embody the values Dr. King held dear. You're proof that each one of us can make a difference. Our city's highest civil rights recognition is named for Calvin Good. I'm so pleased that his family is here with us today. I will see many of you on Monday at Eastlake Park and our city's march, and I hope that you'll take time to check out the beautiful mural at Eastlake Park, which recognizes Calvin Good as well as many other community leaders. So, as we reflect on Dr. King's legacy, it's important to recognize the role each of us plays in the ongoing work of justice and equity. It's up to us to ensure that the fight for equality remains strong and visible, and that we're building a future where every individual can thrive. Thank you again to the Arizona MLK Celebration Committee for your tireless work. Have a fabulous celebration.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 39th Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Awards Breakfast. Dr. King once said, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? His words remind us of the power of service, responsibility to build a more equitable and inclusive society, a more equitable and inclusive Phoenix. Today, we celebrate the achievements and contributions of our exceptional awardees and finalists, those who, through their courage, dedication, continue the work of Dr. King, and they remind us of the power we each hold to bring about change in our communities. This year, our celebration is especially poignant as we honor the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This landmark legislation was a profound step in our nation's journey towards equity, securing basic freedoms for all people, regardless of race, creed, or background. Let us remember the sacrifices that were made and the progress that has been won through the resilience and determination of those who came before us. I want to recognize Dr. Jean Blue, who unfortunately is not with us today, but is truly with us in spirit. And I'd also like to recognize the 2025 Arizona Celebration Committee and the Arizona OIC staff. If you are a member of either, would you please stand and be recognized? So as we reflect on our journey together, we acknowledge our shared responsibility to engage, listen, and move forward together with respect and purpose. And with that, let us continue today's celebration, keeping the spirit of Dr. King in our hearts and in our actions. Now I would like to bring Ron Williams, chair of the AZ Celebration Events Committee, and the 2006 Living the Dream and 2019 Lifetime Achievement honoree to the stage for a few words and acknowledgments. Ron?
Good morning, Arizona. What a lovely day to be here. My name is Ron Williams, chairperson of the Arizona MLK Celebration Committee Events and Activities. 22 years on this committee, 12 years as chairperson of the events. First, I'd be remiss, I'm gonna jump off script for just a second. Valerie Churchwell, over the last few years, have been watching, listening, and learning. She put this whole program together. I had nothing to do with it. Let's give her a round of applause. I do want to recognize some special guests we have with us. We have Kayla Merriweather Scottsdale, MLK co-chair. Hold your applause to the end. We thank you again. Thank the governor for being with us another year. Thank you, Governor Hall, for being with us another year. And City of Phoenix Vice Mayor Ann O'Brien is with us. From the City of Phoenix, District 6 Council Member Kevin Robinson, District 7 Council Member Carlos Galindo Elvira, District 8 Council Member Keisha Hars Washington, City of Goodyear Mayor Joe Pazillo, City of Chandler Mayor Kevin Harkle, and Town of Apache Junction Mayor Chip Wilson. Let's give them all a round of applause. This event could not take place without sponsors who step up to provide valuable funds for us. And I'd like to acknowledge them all right now, if you can hold your applause. Title sponsor, Amazon. Guardian sponsor Verizon, Vanguard sponsor SRP, Liberty sponsors New Times and Arizona Republic, media sponsors McCarthy, PetSmart, Chase, Arizona Community Foundation, advocate sponsors Wells Fargo, USAA, ASU Center for Race and Democracy, anchor sponsors Sky Harbor and Kroger, and our in-kind sponsors are Savit, Point, Click, and Ebony House. Bear with me. We're so excited that we have all of these sponsors this year as a result of Valen and Daylin's hard work throughout the year, so I'm going to acknowledge them all. Table sponsors, Boeing, Maricopa Branch NAACP, Arizona Informant, Transdev, Arizona Interfaith Community, John Davis Family, Dr. Samaria Riggins Family, South Mountain Community College, the Episcopal Diocese of Arizona, City of Phoenix Office of Accountability and Transparency, True Leave, Blue Cross, APS, Water State, CAN, City of Phoenix Community Economic Development, City of Phoenix Councilmember Kevin Robinson, Councilwoman Keisha Hodge Washington, Councilmember Carlos Galindo Ibarra, Residio, Phoenix Suns, Mercury Foundation, D Squared Homes for the Homeless, Digital Commercialization Specialist George Flores family. I'm just going to mention George Flores. We tried to surprise him, but his family flew in and we couldn't pull it off, but they are here. George and his brothers over there. And finally, the Hamilton Group, City of Phoenix Human Relations Commission, Lockton Medtronics, Mercy Care, NFBPA, Facts Behavioral Health LLC, and the United Black Firefighters. Let's give them all a round of applause. Now, I'd like to take a moment to highlight one company that has joined us several years ago in a big way. Our title sponsor for this year's event. Please turn your attention toward the screen. All right, just imagine Amazon big up on the screen. Amazon's generous sponsorship has made a tremendous impact in support of our awards breakfast for the past 3 years. And on behalf of the Arizona MLK Celebration Committee, we would like to express our sincere appreciation for your commitment. Verizon is another longtime partner that returns as our Guardian sponsor this year. We are so thankful for your ongoing support of our breakfast. Sponsors like you help to create a better world and future for us all. We'd also like to thank SRP, our Vanguard sponsors. SRP stepped up to the plate several years ago as an invaluable backer of the Arizona MLK celebrations. Not only did they contribute financially, but their employees, many who are here today in the royal blue shirts you'll see around the room, as volunteers, they volunteer their time and talents to support the planning and delivery of this and other events over this weekend and next. We appreciate SRP's continued support of our celebration. All right, that is my part. I'm so glad this is the first year I get to just sit down and have a good time. So thank you all.
Thank you, Ron, and we appreciate your long-standing service as a member and leader of this Arizona MLK celebration. And thank you again to our title sponsor, Amazon, our Guardian sponsor, Verizon, and our Vanguard sponsor, SRP, along with all of today's event sponsors. This event would not be possible without you. We understand that, and we appreciate you for all that you do. As we continue with our program, here's another fun fact about the civil rights movement. The average age of the Freedom Rider in the 1960s was around mid to late 20s, with most participants following between the ages of 18 and 30. The movement was made up of mostly college students who were fearless in their pursuit of freedom. Martin Luther King Jr. was just 34 years old when he gave his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech at the March on Washington in 1963. Youth and young adults were the backbone of the civil rights movement, and their engagement continues today. And as you saw with the entry of this year's Torch Runners, youth involvement in the Arizona MLK events is key. One event, which is a cornerstone of the Arizona MLK annual celebration activities, is the Youth Rally, which is delivered under the direction of Committee Chair, Mr. Tyree Davis. This year's theme is Me Moving Forward Meaningfully. This free event for youth and young adults from the ages of 5 to 21, it honors the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King through education, empowerment, and entertainment. Please make sure to join us for this year's youth rally on Saturday, January 25th from 8 to 3 p.m. at Phoenix College. And as we reflect on Dr. King, it's important to recognize the institutions and the communities that helped mold his extraordinary character. One such institution is Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. It's considered a pillar of the historical Black colleges and universities. Education at Morehouse has shaped many of our nation's most important African American leaders, including our very own city manager, Jeff Barton, who unfortunately can't be with us this morning. And one of our Beacon Award winners, John Davis, has just been accepted and will be attending Morehouse in the fall. And we have promised John that we will get him an introduction and a sit down before he goes off to Morehouse with our city manager, Mr. Barton. It is through scholarship that we lift the next generation of leaders that will carry Dr. King's vision forward. And scholarships are key to opening doors of opportunity for our youth who will be the torch bearers of the future. You can make a difference right now. There's a QR code on the screen. In your program, there is a card that looks like this. It also has a QR code on it. And we are asking today that you scan this QR code and make a donation. Any amount will be appreciated and gladly accepted. But we are asking each person here this morning at the breakfast if they could just donate $10. It makes such a big difference. Simply scan again the QR code either from the screen or on your card. All right. We are trying to reach a goal of $5,000 in donations today. And as you get to the donation prompt, so I've already done mine this morning. I took out my phone, I did it, I did the scan. It takes you to a prompt that says Arizona Opportunities Industrialization Center, OIC. And as most of you know, OIC is the parent company that executes the Arizona MLK program. So don't be surprised if you see OIC and you're like, well, where's the MLK breakfast at? It is the parent company, and they do receive the donations on our behalf. Let's give everybody a little bit of time to do that. Again, any amount will be greatly appreciated. We do appreciate your support. As we've talked about our youth being the next generation, they are our torch bearers, and they are doing so much, and we have an obligation to make sure every opportunity is available to them. Before moving on to the Beacon Award winners, we also want to share with you a special partnership, the 2024 Bishop Henry Barnwell MLK Scholars. The Bishop Henry L. Barnwell MLK Junior Scholarship Program is open to high school seniors and undergraduates in Arizona. Students who have promoted the principles of Dr. Martin Luther King are encouraged to apply through the Arizona Community Foundation. The 2025 scholarship application closes on April 15th, 2025. I'm not sure if there's anything why it's connected to tax day, but that's when the applications close. So if you have a student that's eligible, please encourage them to apply for this scholarship. The 2024-29 Bishop Barnwell scholarships were awarded to students who attend 16 different schools, seminary schools, colleges, and universities across the country. These scholars will be celebrated at the Candlelight Scholarship Program and concert that will be held on Sunday, January 19th at 6 p.m. at the Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church. We thank you to the Candlelight Ceremony Committee, led by Dr. Will Kantz, Pastor Aubrey Barnwell, and Clara Briggs, And also a big thank you to Kim Covington and the Arizona Community Foundation for hosting this scholarship. And of course to Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church, who once again is being the home for this celebration. As you can see, every donation matters, no matter the size. So please, we ask you to do your part today. Give up one Starbucks coffee and donate those proceeds to the scholarship fund. We thank you for that. Together, let's ensure that the next generation of leaders can continue to fulfill Dr. King's dream. I know through our collective efforts, we can attain our financial goal of $5,000. Again, thank you for your generosity. Last year, the Arizona MLK Committee established a new award for youth. It was named in honor of the Arizona OIC chair, the larger-than-life Dr. Jean C. Blue. The Beacon Youth Award celebrates students who demonstrate the principles of scholarship and civic participation and the ideals of hope and possibility lived by Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Every Beacon scholar must demonstrate a personal commitment to the ideals of Dr. King through participation and leadership in school and community activities. So before we introduce this year's scholars to you, please take a look at another of Dr. King's inspirational speeches, How to Design Your Life's Blueprint.
This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one, in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have, as a basic principle, the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and the years unfold what you will do in life, what your life's work will be. Once you discover what it will be, set out to do it, and to do it well. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. And finally, in your life's blueprint must be a commitment to the eternal principles of beauty, love, and justice. Well, life for none of us has been a crystal staff, but we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, but by all means, keep moving.
Good morning again, everyone, and we are just going to keep this rolling. So I'm going to say, without further delay, I'm pleased to present the first of two Beacon scholarships. This one in the amount of $5,000 to John Davis, a senior at Eastmark High School. John is committed to service, leadership, and civic engagement for both himself and his peers. His dedication to his community extends further through his roles on several youth councils and commissions. Academically, John excels with honors, balancing his classes with his varsity roles as captains of the esports team and shooting guard for the basketball team. As mentioned earlier, John has accepted and will be attending Morehouse College in Atlanta in the fall. Let's take a look at John's video.
In my school, I promote a just society by helping the special needs kids as a para-learner. As a para-learner, I assist in the classroom and in the athletics. And I promote it, again, by involving my friends and peers to also help out the special needs kids as well. So I started in my 10th grade year, and my coach had asked us to help volunteer at one of their games, the basketball games. And once I did, I just fell in love with them. And so ever since then, I decided to take it one step further so once I volunteered at the games, I volunteered in the classroom, and then they allowed me to TA in their classroom. So I'm in there for 2 hours a day as a senior, and I help out the kids with their learning, with their math, English, science, and their reading, and whatever they need help with. Those aspects have impacted my life by leading me down a path to help people. Helping people is very important to me ever since I was 10 years old, and I fed the homeless and created the Love John Project, and I want to continue that going into the future, just helping as many people as I can. We can best honor Dr. Martin Luther King in today's world by treating everyone equally and with respect, no matter their race, gender, or political standing.
All right, so last year, I had the opportunity to share the stage with this next award winner. And with all great things she has accomplished as an 11th grader, I am truly excited that she has returned as a senior. I'm pleased to present this scholarship, this one in the amount of $10,000, to returning Beacon scholar Lauren Jones, a dedicated leader, scholar, and community advocate, now a senior at Arizona College Prep High School in Gilbert. She maintains an impressive 4.4 GPA as a National Honor Society member and is an outstanding athlete. Her varsity letters and has earned varsity letters as a freshman on the high school varsity basketball team. Lauren's passion for civil and chemical engineering drives her future goals to innovate in clean energy solutions. She plans to work on methane-based clean water solutions to benefit underserved communities and ensure access to clean water. Please turn your attention to the screen for Lauren's video.
I think the ideals of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. are so much more than what we learn in our schools. You know, we learn he fought for civil rights. We learn that he wrote the I Have a Dream speech, and we learn that he's the reason why we get that Monday off in January, and that's about it. I think his devotion to the church and expanding upon his own parents' legacy, as well as creating a name for himself on his own, is an ideal that I definitely want to emulate as I continue to grow. Growing up, I grew up in schools where I was the minority, but I was a minority to multiple different cultures. I think being able to see like where people come from, their like traditions at such a young age, it kind of helped me skip over that step that I see people go through where out of misunderstanding and confusion, they kind of say things that could potentially hurt those people. And I feel like being able to see all of those cultures at such a young age is what allows me to be able to be more informed and educated and to help them with issues that they face that may not necessarily apply to me. Not accepting being told to wait. I know Dr. King definitely disliked being told to wait when he was actively seeing people around him and himself just enduring all kinds of unwarranted hate and negativity. So I think while being patient during what you're fighting for is definitely important, I think being told to wait altogether is something we really can't afford to do.
Wow, as Dr. King said, this is how our youth keep moving. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be a sun, then be the star. And if it isn't by the size that you win or fail, be the best at whatever you are. Congratulations again to Lauren and John. Best of luck to all of you on your college journeys. Make us proud. Now let's introduce our next three awards, the new Arizona MLK Drum Major for the Community Service Award, and Living the Dream, and Lifetime Achievements Award. Though you may think that the recipients are selected by the Arizona MLK Committee, they are not. The honorees are selected each year by the small but mighty group from the City of Phoenix Human Relations Commission Selection Committee. And to share a bit more about how this is accomplished, let's hear from the HRC Chair, Michael Mazzacco.
My name is Michael Mazzacco. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I am the current chair for the Human Relations Commission for the City of Phoenix, as well as the board chair for the Greater Phoenix Equality Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, everyone. It is with great pride and understanding of the immensity of this day that I welcome this room of politicians, dignitaries, community change makers, award winners, and amazing individuals and supporters. It is important that we celebrate Martin Luther King's historical intersectionality when we celebrate his legacy. He fought, and we still continue today to fight for a more inclusive and equal society, a fight that rages on and burns brighter than ever before. We all must live his word and live our truth out loud, because it is more important than ever right now. The Human Relations Commission is charged with the almost impossible task of rating and eventually deciding who will receive the Calvin C. Good MLK Lifetime Achievement Award and the MLK Living the Dream Awards. We weigh each one on its merit and then have the daunting task of rating them and then coming to a consensus for who should receive these prestigious awards. We are always inspired by their right thoughtlessness and energized to still do more for our great city of Phoenix and beautiful state of Arizona. Today we thank you, we celebrate you, and we honor Martin Luther King's legacy and body of work, his full body of work for the entire community. From the entire Human Relations Commission, welcome. Enjoy your breakfast. Congratulations to the awardees today. And when you leave here, please continue to make that good trouble. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, for leading this effort. And with us today are members of that selection committee, along with Shayna Archie from the city's Equal Opportunity Department that staffs this commission. Would you please stand up to be acknowledged, as we know this was not an easy job. We just want to thank you for volunteering your time to make these selections. We know the task was not easy. Now let's start with our first ever service award, the Arizona MLK Drum Major for the Community. Named in recognition of Dr. King's Drum Major Instinct sermon, the Arizona MLK Drum Major for the Community Service Award is extended to businesses and nonprofit organizations that exemplify the drum major instinct of service and care for the community. We would like to share with you a piece of the inspirational sermon. If you would turn your attention to the screen, please.
I'd like for somebody to say, that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody, I want you to say that day that I tried to be right on the wall question. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to clothe those who were naked. I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of the other shallow things will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I won't have the fine and luxurious things of life to leave behind. But I just want to leave a committed life behind. And that's all I want to say. If I can help somebody, As I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a world song, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian ought, if I can bring salvation to a world once wrought, if I can spread the message as the Master taught, then my living will not be in vain. Yes, Jesus, I want to be on your right or your left side, not for any selfish reason. I want to be on your right or your left side, not in terms of some political kingdom or ambition, but I just want to be there in love and in justice and in truth and in commitment to others so that we can make of this old world.
Three outstanding organizations were selected as finalists for this inaugural service award based on their exceptional achievement and commitment to promoting and practicing diversity, inclusion, equity, and access for Phoenix residents by dismantling arbitrary barriers and enhancing opportunities and success for the underrepresented populations. And the three finalists are SRP, one of the largest utility providers in the state, Heartsy, a small local arts nonprofit, and the Zeta Tau chapter of Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated. Let's take a look at their videos.
My name is Rob Taylor. I'm Associate General Manager of Public Affairs and Corporate Services with Salt River Project. Well, SRP's roots really go back to the community and to the idea of community service. Back in 1951, our company first launched its community volunteerism program. And since then, that program has really grown. Now we have employees that contribute more than $1.7 million each year to nonprofits around the valley. But they also have donated more than tens of thousands of hours of their time to these organizations as well in volunteer efforts. We've got about 10 employee resource organizations at SRP. And those groups really provide a great opportunity to get more engaged in the company, to provide a sense of community and a sense of inclusion for those employees as well. We have both a leadership council as well as an ambassador program. The ambassador program is a really great way for us to promote DEI, both inclusivity and to make it more of a welcoming workplace at Salt River Project. To me, Dr. King's message and the vision that he had really sort of focuses on how we give back as individuals and how I give back as an individual and what I can do to promote the community myself. So since I've been fortunate enough to have a good environment to work in and to have some success in my own career, it's been important for me to be able to give back and to help others and to help promote those same values and virtues that Dr. King promoted throughout his lifetime. It's really an incredible honor to be nominated. SRP really believes that by embracing the diversity in the communities that we serve, we can help make the community a stronger place. We can make the community a more vibrant place. And that is really core to what we try to do as a company serving the Valley.
Hi, my name is Tina Ferguson. I am the founder of Heartsy. Heartsy is a 7-year-old community art program that provides art in all different mediums to senior citizens with Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's disease, as well as youth with developmental and intellectual disabilities here in Phoenix and all across the Valley. We do felting, we do mosaics, we do silk painting, we do really high-end programming so that our students feel really valuable and they feel like they're true artists. Early on, I had a student named Hallie, and when they rolled her into my classroom at an assisted living home, they put her in back of me against the wall. They didn't roll her up to my table. And I asked the staff why, and they said it was because she was nonverbal and she never participated in any events in the past 2 years that she lived at the building, and that she would like to just watch. And I said, absolutely not. I got up and I went and I got her. And long story short, Hallie was the first one done that day. Hallie eventually, over the months, began to speak. She came up to me one day and she said, "Oh, Tina, you help us do the most beautiful things." That really let me know that I was doing the right thing in the community. Art can really create more social relationships with people in the community. Memories come back from people who are doing art. That just actually happened in South Phoenix last month, where we had a nonverbal gentleman who was doing a class, and he usually never talks. And we brought a spin art project on records, and they were making a record of their life. And he started saying, "Old school." We just finished doing 15 murals at all 15 of the Phoenix senior centers, and we were able to reach over 120 seniors. We're now in our 7th year, and we're now able to allow everyone the opportunity to do art and to see the health benefits of art.
We are Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated, Zeta Tau Chapter. And so some of the things that we do and that we're a part of is providing scholarships for the youth. We also encourage business women, entrepreneurship. We also just encourage sisterhood. We try to do anything that we can to improve the community. So we go out there and we're working with the homeless. We did some things with feeding individuals on Thanksgiving, and just encouraging young people to be their best selves.
Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated is a wonderful organization for us to be able to make a difference in our community and as a whole, especially in this time that we're living in. It's about being able to understand your gifts and talents and being able to be around people that will help you flourish and be the person that you really truly want to be.
For me, Dr. King means diversity and love. And it's a powerful thing for me because I'm all about just being connected with others and leading by example.
He had a legacy that was fighting against the disparities, the economic disparities, not only with the Black community, but with all communities. And I think that that's the thing that resonates the most with me, especially being an entrepreneur and wanting to kind of pass that information on to people that might not otherwise have it.
And if we want to make a difference, we have to all come together as a community to do that. And I want to be part of that. So I want to be a piece of that puzzle.
This award to me means everything. Even though we're a brand new chapter, this is just the beginning for us.
Winning this award just means that what we are doing is working, that our efforts are actually resulting in something that's tangible, that we can share with the community and move forward with encouragement.
Michael, please come join me on stage. I want to thank each of those 3 entities for the care and service that you provide to our community. And Michael, here is the envelope containing the winner today. I'm going to present it to you so that you can make that announcement.
Thank you so much. Before we make this announcement, though, just a huge shout out and thank you to the Phoenix TV team for those fantastic videos. This has been a wonderful breakfast, and they've made such a difference with their work.
Yes.
And then also, because I'm such a believer in community, can all 3 organizations please stand? They all deserve our applause today. So, now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to announce the 2025 AZ MLK Drum Major for the Community Award winner. And I should have brought my glasses.
I see it. Yes, Artsy. Tina Ferguson, Executive Director.
Just realized that
That's okay. Thank you again to all the finalists, and we continue to be drum majors for each and every one of the residents that you touch and serve. We appreciate all that you do. Dr. King says, "Who is greatest among you shall be a servant." This is not a new definition of greatness, but rather a standard that Dr. King exemplified and advocated. Everybody can be great, and great are the men and women that we are celebrating and honoring here today because they serve. The Arizona MLK Living the Dream Award recognizes individuals who embody the ideas of Dr. King through their continued personal commitment to human relations and social justice. Now, before we get started with the Living the Dreams Award for this year, let's acknowledge the previous Living the Dream recipients. To date, through 2024, there are 187 individuals that have been honored with this award. If you are in the audience, and we should be able to identify you by your silver pins, please stand to be recognized. And also know that all honorees can be found on the honor wall of the Arizona MLK website. Honorees, please stand. Thank you. That's 187 exceptional people, and we will continue to add to that list. Now it's time to meet the 5 individuals that make up the 2025 class of the Living the Dream Awards. This year's honorees reflect the rich diversity of service and leadership within our community, each exemplifying the values of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whether uplifting single mothers and at-risk youth, addressing basic needs and fostering empowerment, support for minority-owned businesses and advocating inclusive workforce training, providing housing and dignity to the homeless with mental illness, and championing social justice and racial equality by empowering voters, all through innovative programs rooted in personal determination. While their paths differ from public service and nonprofit work to community advocacy and membership, their shared commitment to equity, empowerment, and service unites them as torchbearers of Dr. King's legacy. Our first 2025 Arizona MLK Living the Dream honoree is Miss Diva Mumphrey.
My experience of being a divorced single mother is what started me with this journey of being the founder and CEO of Beyond the Hurt. Having the challenges of raising 4 children by myself, I seen the impact that it had on them. It had the impact on me, myself. I worked 3 jobs at one time just to be the provider, the nurturer of my family. And when I seen that there were other mothers experiencing this. So I wanted to start Beyond the Hurt to be able to be that support system for mothers who did not have a support system like I did, you know, to be able to raise their children and to be productive. So that's what started me, as the experience of raising 4 children by myself. The transitional home is for women who have been either in a domestic violence situation, or they have no support system, or they're just trying to transition out of a low point in their life. So getting women who are pretty much downtrodden to get back on their feet and believe in themselves is pretty much the impact that we have with the community. A personal obstacle was really believing in myself as a Black woman. So when I fill out those applications, when I go to meetings with these prestigious business owners, I have to, again, believe in myself. Yes, I'm a woman of color. I am a woman, but I can do this. We could best honor Dr. King in today's world by offering programs and different ways to not only give a person a hand out, but to give them a hand up.
Thank you, Ms. Diva Mumphrey. Our next 2025 Arizona MLK Living the Dream honoree is Dr. Samaria Janon Riggins. Please turn your attention to the screen.
An experience that made a difference along the way was honestly the pandemic. The pandemic allowed me to go back into physical therapy school, think about volunteer opportunities I wanted to have. I'm grateful for physical therapy. I'm grateful for the community in the Valley because I truly couldn't have done it without them. And I think there is power in that unity. I'm very grateful to the power of what one person can do and how it can help those around us. If I'm being honest, I think the biggest obstacle for me was me. You know, when I started this drive, I was a PT student. I was studying 4 hours a day. I was in class 8 hours of the day. You know, I'm pretty young, so I like to have a social life. I like to take care of myself, my mind, physical, spiritual well-being, and it truly felt like there wasn't enough time on my side. But, you know, I did brush that aside and find the time in breaks before I go to bed, when I first wake up in the morning, just to plan everything. And outside of time, I think I just had a lot of self-doubt. I thought this one little person couldn't make a difference in a lot of people's lives. And we could best honor Dr. King in today's world by us all coming together and advocating for human rights. You know, Dr. King was an amazing person and he has made a big difference in today's world, but I'm sure he's humble enough to know that he couldn't have done it without the help of the community, his village, and those who are around him. I think it's powerful, and there's power in unity and us all coming together for human rights.
Thank you, Dr. Riggins, and congratulations. Our next 2025 Arizona MLK Living the Dream honoree is Ms. Wante Daly. Please turn your attention to the screen.
My son was diagnosed with schizophrenia in 2012. Doctors told me he'd never work again, and 6 years later, actually 3 years later, he was working full-time, went back to school, own apartment, doing everything the doctor said he couldn't do, and that was the start of my journey. We prevent homelessness for the SMI population, which is serious mental illness, and we do that because of my son's situation. A lot of people think that the stigma of mental health challenges that they cannot work, and it's not true. So we support rental assistance for those experiencing a temporary setback when they have an SMI diagnosis. The majority of the population we serve lives in the city of Phoenix. Once COVID hit, I realized that so many more people needed help, not just the SMI population. So to date, we've helped 129 people with rent, and the majority of them actually live in Phoenix. No nonprofit experience when I started this nonprofit 6 years ago. I just knew that I needed to make a difference. So not having the experience, I had to find people that did have experience. I've had to educate myself along the way. I've applied for capacity building grants, which allowed me to work with consultants. So literally this has been an educational journey for 6 years. We can best honor Dr. King in today's world by taking that first step without seeing the rest of the staircase, just like he did. When I started my nonprofit, I didn't know how I would help people, but I stepped out, I had the courage, and then other people came along beside me and walked, and then obviously there was God. So just not waiting for other people to do what's right, but taking the stand just because you know it's the right thing to do.
Congratulations, Ms. Daly. Our next 2025 Arizona MLK Living the Dream honoree is Mr. Jerry McPherson. Please turn your attention to the screen.
One thing that I think about that I'm deeply proud of is petitioning the NBA Foundation to award $500,000 that we in turn awarded to smaller nonprofit organizations that were Black-led, Black-serving. And really why that was important is there are many organizations, doing the work, and a common theme amongst many of these nonprofits is not having the funding to be impactful or needing more funding to affect more lives. And thankfully through those funds, I was able to award
a number of other nonprofits who are doing great work, including the Black Chamber of Arizona, Archwood. We're able to award a number of nonprofit organizations that were doing great work, and really, I was able to, many of these organizations would not have been on the radar of an organization like the MBA Foundation, but able to, introduce them to the organization, introduce their work and outcomes, and get them the funding that they needed. I recognize that those outcomes that they were able to do individually, I had a small contribution in making that happen, and that is something that I'm proud of. And I think about the incremental changes and impact I've been able to make on different people's lives, whether it was getting youth involved in the Summer Youth Program, getting someone who had not ever been introduced to the world of technology into getting the training and certifications into the workforce. We can best honor Dr. King in today's world by remaining focused on economic equity and the importance it is in all of this work that we are doing.
Our final 2025 Arizona MLK Living the Dream Award is to Mrs. Donna Williams, Esquire. Unfortunately, she is not able to join us today, so accepting on her behalf is her husband, Mr. Marcus Williams. Please turn your attention to the screen.
I think sometimes we can spend a lifetime trying to discover our superpower, what our gift is, kind of what our purpose is and why we were given this life. And I think I figured that out pretty early on. And I figured out that I'm a good problem solver. And so I had family and friends would confide in me and ask me for help. And I remember the immense satisfaction I had with being that resource and being that trusted voice for them. And so kind of leaning into that superpower, I went into law. Through that journey of self-discovery, I can say that I have found very interesting ways to use that talent in community, and that's probably been very beneficial for me. And so I penned this letter to Governor Hobbs, and it was actually signed by, I think, about 28 other Black women leaders in this community who felt the same way that I did, that now was the time. She signed an executive order basically protecting state workers and contractors from hair discrimination. And so, that's kind of the beginning, right? The cities of Tucson and Tempe have ordinances, but in order to kind of problem solve around this issue systemically, we need statewide protections. I think we can best honor Dr. King in today's world by leaning into this notion of self-determination. He believed, as I believe, that we have all of the talent, all of the resources, and all of the information we need to solve our own problems. And if we just lean into the fact that we are brilliant, that we are resourceful, and that we are resilient, we can solve a lot of the problems that we have and the most pressing challenges of our community.
Now I'd like to introduce our final award for this morning, the Arizona MLK Calvin C. Good Lifetime Achievement Award. This award recognizes exceptional individuals who have made Phoenix a better place to live through a lifelong dedication to promoting social and economic justice, defining civil rights, and enhancing the dignity of all people. Honorees must emulate the lifelong dedication of Calvin C. Good. There are only 31 recipients, beginning with Calvin C. Good himself in 1994. So if a recipient is in the audience, please stand. And we should be able to identify you through your gold pin, but please stand and be recognized. Now let's take a moment to learn a little bit more about the Phoenix Vice Mayor, Calvin C. Good.
Councilman Calvin C. Good served the Phoenix City Council for 22 years, between 1972 and 1994. He was only the second African American elected to the City Council.
He made many landmark decisions promoting social and economic justice, defending civil rights, including the Phoenix Ordinance Against Workplace Discrimination, and was instrumental in ensuring that the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day was officially recognized by the city of Phoenix as a holiday. To commemorate his service to the city, a municipal building was named after him. Today, we celebrate the life of a great Arizona leader.
I am Phoenix City Councilwoman Keisha Hodge Washington, and I have the pleasure of representing the same district that the Vice Mayor and Councilman Calvin C. Good represented for 22 years, Phoenix City Council District 8. As the video showed, Councilmember Good served our community for 22 years. He was the second African American ever to serve on the Phoenix City Council. He is the longest serving council member, and I think the honor that he is most recognized for in our community is serving as the conscience of our council. He had the honor of serving under 5 mayors. He was instrumental in the passage of the Phoenix City Ordinance that prohibited workplace discrimination, and it is only fitting that the municipal building bears his name. He has been a voice for civil rights and inclusivity. He received the Lifetime Award at the Arizona Dr. Martin Luther King celebration in 1994, and the award was subsequently named after him. After retiring from the City Council, Good remained active in the Phoenix community. He volunteered his time with the Booker T. Washington Child Development Center, the East Lake Neighborhood Association, and the George Washington Carver Museum and Cultural Center. Although we lost Vice Mayor Good at the age of 93 at the end of 2020, this year's recipient serves to remind us that his legacy of service lives on. We have members of the Good family here with us today. I would ask that the Good family members please stand and be recognized. Thank you. As mentioned, there are only 31 individuals who have ever been recognized with the Lifetime Achievement Award since its introduction in 1994. And I have the honor of introducing one of the 2 being recognized this year, Ms. Vernell Myers-Coleman. Though she passed in 1990, her contributions to the city of Phoenix remain numerous, including in 2022, by unanimous approval by the Mayor and City Council, Juneteenth, a new paid holiday was established in her honor. And she was also, her legacy was, and her contribution was celebrated through a street renaming sign that was mounted on the northeast and southwest traffic signals at the corner of 7th Avenue and Buckeye Road. Ms. Vernell Myers-Coleman served as an inspiration to many of us. From leading the first food bank here in the entire nation, not the city, but the nation. She was the brains behind that, and we owe her a debt of gratitude. Please turn your attention to the screen as remarks in her award will be received by her daughter, Mrs. Charlotta Coleman Miller.
My mom was full of passion and desire. Even as a kid, I remember her, always doing for the elderly, for the kids. She'd feed kids. She just, she's just one of those that had it in her to help people, always. No matter if it was a sick kid or an elderly person that was sick, she was always sending food or having us to go and clean their house, that kind of thing. She was just there for everybody. A very political person too. She loved politics. So she would campaign for anybody that was running for office. Art Hamilton, Calvin Good, Rosemary Wilcox and her husband, and Alfredo. She would gather all the kids in the project and have them going out putting flyers in everybody's doors. And then she'd fix us lunch for doing it. She fed everybody, so
Those were the kind of things she would do. And so the community rallied around her, you know, because they trusted her judgment. Her community was behind her 100%.
Thank you. Next to the stage, please welcome Mrs. Carol Coles-Henry. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. That's not good. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. I'm Carol Coles-Henry, and I have the distinct honor and privilege of introducing the second Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Mr. George Flores. But first, please let me tell you a little bit about my dear friend, former boss, and mentor. He's a family man, a humble husband, father, brother, grandpa, and community servant. George is a trailblazer. His legacy of leadership is extraordinary. His longstanding public service career and accomplishments with elected officials, city management staff, commissions, and community spans over 50 years. And that includes city government entities such as Glendale, Scottsdale, Phoenix, 35 years, City of Phoenix, woohoo, El Mirage, and Buckeye. He's a public servant, humanitarian, and a philanthropist with his wife. His impact on policies, programs, and services will be felt for generations to come. Highlights of his notable record reaches into the depths of many existing City of Phoenix projects that continue to this day, such as the Hope 6 project, which transformed one of our city's public housing projects into one of the best mixed-income communities. The Salvation Army Kroc Center, which is a multicultural and multi-generational asset in the community of South Mountain, serving historically underserved and underprivileged communities. And it's a hub for all ages. I ride by there all the time. And at one point, I have to tell you, he was the only deputy city manager with 5 female department heads. And I know it so well because I was one of them. He has supported us in achieving our goals in neighborhood services, equal opportunity, library science, library services, and the list goes on. Even lastly, this amazing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. program that thrived and expanded under his leadership. In his retirement, he continues to support the community through his emeritus president's role with the Salvation Army Kroc Center, his mentorship efforts with aspiring city management professionals across the country. Those efforts are amazing. He financially supports immigrant programs and services with his wife and children, and also scholarships for students, and so much more. Dr. King once said, one of life's most persistent questions is, what are you doing for others? It is with great honor and tears in my eyes I honor and introduce to you trailblazer, leader, community servant, George Flores.
I was volunteered to serve on the Salvation Army board by the city manager. It was an opportunity that I very much enjoyed. During the time I served on the board, I was elected chair by the board members, and Joan Kroc, during that time, gave the Salvation Army $1.5 billion and said, I want you to build Kroc centers throughout the United States. They had built a prototype in San Diego. We decided we need to go after that for the city of Phoenix and for the South Mountain area of Phoenix. So we applied for the Kroc Center grant and were awarded $35 million. After we received the award, they said, oh, we forgot to tell you, you have to raise $15 million for an operating endowment before you go to construction. And raising $15 million in Phoenix is a monumental task. It took us 2 years to do. The Kroc Center has been built. It's a beautiful facility. It serves families, particularly children, throughout the South Mountain area, but also regionally as well as statewide. It's one of the most significant things I did with my career. We can best honor Dr. King in today's world by continuing to live his dream. His work is not done. I've become convinced in light of events recently that until we personally accept his teachings in our hearts and in our minds and live those,
we will never achieve what he had envisioned and the dream that he had for all of us.
I have about 20 minutes of comments here, but I'll cut them down to maybe 5, maybe 3 if I'm lucky. I think some of you remember Representative Boehner, who could never speak without crying. Well, I'm going to try to not do that. I would like to thank the committee for this wonderful event this morning, as well as for choosing me to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. I'd like to congratulate all the other award winners this morning for their hard work in making Phoenix a better place to live, work, and play. I want to thank my colleague, Ms. Carol Colts-Henry, for nominating me for this award and for lovely words this morning on my behalf. I'd like to recognize my 3 daughters, my granddaughter, Milagros, which means miracle in Spanish, for being here this morning, along with my 3 brothers who grew up with me, obviously, and who came here from Texas and Delaware. I had the honor of working for the city of Phoenix for 35 years. It is my alma mater, and I really loved the 35 years. I was fortunate enough to also work with Councilman Good for the 22 years he served on the city council. I still recall from time to time he would call and say, "Mr. Flores, would you come up and see me?" And he never asked for George, it was always Mr. Flores. He was that kind of person. He was always very respectful. He led the city during a time of difficulty and established a proud foundation upon which the city continues to grow. I believe the mayor, the city council, and all the 14,000 city staff members, including the city manager, continue to do an excellent job building off that proud legacy. I don't believe we ever tell them enough how much we enjoy the things they do on our behalf. And so I wanted to take some time to do that this morning. And I know the city manager couldn't be here this morning, but I'd hope the staff would take back my comments to him. One of the questions I've been asked is how can we best honor Martin Luther King, who passed so many years ago. We face today in this country, in this world, so many difficult challenges that unless we all recommit ourselves to his dream, those problems will never go away. I'm also of the opinion that if we had embraced those dreams, Monday we'd have a woman president. And I sincerely mean that. In closing, no one ever receives an honor like this as a result of their individual efforts. There's a poem written by Tennyson called Ulysses, who has a favorite line of mine that I've remembered since high school. And it says, "I am a part of all I have met. I am a part of all I have met." In my life, I've had the pleasure of working with thousands of people who've made a difference in my life. You need to make sure you make a difference in everyone you come in contact with as well. In my 50-year-plus journey in city management, as well as in my life and my career, the most important person who's been part of my life is my wife, Vivian Flores, my partner of over 50 years. Without her, I would not be the success that I am today in my life and in my career. Thank you very much.
I thank you for allowing me to share this 2025 MLK Awards with you, and let's give a final round of applause for all of our event sponsors. With a big shout out to Amazon, Verizon, and SRP as our title, Guardian, and Vanguard sponsors, all of our honorees, the Phoenix Convention Center event and wait staff, Scott Ferentz Productions, Steve Wargo and SWAT, Chuck Mueller and the team at Point and Click, SRP volunteers have been just, we would not have been able to do this without you. The Lane Awards, Joy Fletcher, and the Arizona OIC staff. Thank you. And finally, don't forget, in 2026, it will be the 40th anniversary of the legacy to commemorate the Arizona MLK Breakfast Award. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.